Greetings and welcome, friends. My name is Jalisa Holifiled, and I am a proud Stevenson Center Fellow, currently completing my second year as a Master of Sociology student, and I'm halfway through my first year as the Serve Illinois AmeriCorps Member with the Stevenson Center. This recording is part of sharing our experiences at ISU with the Stevenson Center and AmeriCorps or Peace Corps. I am not going to go into detail about my past AmeriCorps experience here. If you are listening, you are likely a prospective student and know that in order to be accepted into the Stevenson Center, you need to have completed at least one term of AmeriCorps or Peace Corps service. I trust that you know what that's all about and have plenty of stories to share of your own in that department. What I do want to share with you is what I did to prepare for graduate school, my experience with the Stevenson Center in the Sociology Department, and how I generally survived the first year of graduate school. Just a little context and background about me in no particular order. I was one of the older members of my cohort. I moved from a large Midwestern city to a much smaller Midwestern city, being Bloomington Normal. I am always analyzing my life from a social justice and equity lens. This shows up for me in speaking in the most accessible way I know how. I try to be straightforward and speak truth to my lived experiences. I am a Black cisgendered woman in America, so I see everything through that lens. With that, I hope you receive my podcast well and learn a bit about my grad school experience thus far. I have so much to say, but only about 15 minutes to say it, so we'll jump right in. Center. So what did I do to prepare to get to graduate school? I served 3 AmeriCorps terms before the current one I'm in, and I have generally lived my life in a very service-oriented and social justice way. I earned an associate's and bachelor's degree and worked the entire time I was in school. All of these experiences really shaped my connection and passion for all things social justice. In those 3 AmeriCorps terms, I decided that I wanted to pursue higher education so I could build more confidence and get more experience and skills so that I could be the working professional that I saw myself as. I also learned about the Stevenson Center during my first AmeriCorps service in Public Allies. My program manager told me about the Corporation for National and Community Service website, or CNCS, and she told me to search for matching institutions. This website is still up, and you can do the same. So that process took a while to sort through all the schools and narrow down the possibilities of where I saw myself. I also did a lot of self-reflection. I talked to a lot of people. I talked to my roommates at the time who had their master's degrees. I called up people who were doing work that I admired and just asked them about the path that they took to get there. I took my current student loan debt into account, and the amount of people who I thought would reflect my background into the fields I was thinking about. I also considered the starting salaries, like with and without a degree. After doing that research, I ultimately applied to 2 graduate schools. It was WashU and ISU. I was accepted into both, but ISU had the better financial aid package, and overall the Stevenson Center valued AmeriCorps service more. And since that had been a substantial part of my background, I felt more comfortable choosing ISU. I did have to complete 2 prerequisites online before I started because sociology was not my undergraduate degree, and as far as the GRE goes, I completed that during my last summer of undergrad because I wasn't sure if I was going to go on to higher education. So doing all the legwork of the application process for ISU was tedious, but the Stevenson Center staff really helps move that process along. They communicate well, and they'll always let you know where you're at in the process. So once you get your acceptance call or email, things move pretty quickly after that. I really appreciate the Stevenson Center staff. They certainly exemplify the reasons I chose the program to begin with. It stood out to me that half of the staff has actually gone through this program. They've graduated. And their dedication really shows in the work that they do. I might be just a little bit biased because my current role, I work in the same office as everyone, but I really appreciate getting to see more behind the scenes and actually the work that goes into putting together a cohort of your peers for this experience. The Stevenson Center was also really helpful in picking roommates. Well, once you are accepted, they work to connect you all so you can, you and the accepted people for your year, your cohort, they work to connect you so you can find a roommate situation, which I think is essential in your first year, especially if you have to move from a far distance to attend school here. Your GA stipend is not that much, so finding people to live with is really, really essential. The conference room itself in Stevenson Hall is a nice space to be. There's always some kind of snack, and there's always free coffee and tea as well. So if you get the chance to stop by, talk to Beverly, Dawn, Frank, and Katie, and you'll see what I mean. I also chose the Stevenson Center and ISU for the applied experience that they offer and the interdisciplinary experience. I wanted to feel like I was building my resume as well as earning my degree. And I really do feel like I am doing that because I get to use what I learned in the classroom in my first year to apply to my professional practice now in my second year. My experience with the Sociology Department was a little bit different. I certainly underestimated what to expect out of graduate school. I underestimated that knowing who you want to work with and what you're interested in studying can really, really move you along at a sustainable pace. I would recommend reaching out to professors if you are interested in what they're studying and actually interview them like you're going on a job interview, because these are the people who you look to help mentor you along your academic journey. And this was something I didn't do, which I should have done. I read their profiles and thought I knew a little bit about what the program had to offer, but actually talking to the professors would have given me a clearer picture of that. Also, building relationships with these professors once you get here is really important. I also didn't do that early on, and I feel like that would have helped me in the times that I did struggle. So needless to say, my first semester was pretty rough. All of the advice I had gotten from previous cohort members and the Stevenson Center staff is that the first semester is the hardest. They are not lying about that one. You will have people asking you what your thesis topic is, and if you're like me, you're like, I am just trying to figure out how to get back and forth to class by taking the bus, or trying to figure out how to get back and forth to the grocery store, let alone what I want to write about for the next year. So it was a little bit of a learning curve for me, for sure. I also genuinely love the subject of sociology, so that helped. The second semester went a little bit smoother once I realized, hey, I can do this, even though I struggled. Second semester was smoother. I wasn't really any closer to knowing what I wanted to write about. And this is the time where you're doing your internship internship search and the matching process. And this is also the time where you are completing summer courses. So all of those things overlap, made second semester stressful. So how I survived my first year, I really stayed true to my commitment to my physical and mental well-being. So I talked to my friends and family a lot. I visited home when I could. I meal prepped. I went to the gym a lot. Oh my goodness. I started lifting weights. I went with some of my cohort members and became friends with a few of my cohort. And that really helped balance things out. Exercising really was a balance for me because I needed that physical exertion to like balance being in my head all day from writing papers. So that really kept me balanced. Also, fitting time in to reflect on how far I had come so I could celebrate my accomplishments instead of feeling like, oh my goodness, I have so far to go. I haven't completed XYZ. But taking a step back and being like, no, you did that. Like, you are here. So that really helped me survive as well. Also, SNAP and Medicaid are very real. Your first year, the stipend is pretty low, so you actually do qualify for the SNAP program and Medicaid if you choose not to use the student health insurance. So take advantage of any way you can save money, because there will be a gap where you might not be getting paid and you have to move in that time. So save your money before you get here, and while you're here, save your money. Your office department, they usually have free coffee, which was something I also used to survive. And they do have some supplies like for you to use during your GA ship, so you shouldn't have to come out of pocket for anything like that. You should be provided with everything you need to do your job as a graduate assistant. Take the advice that there really is not time to work a second job during this program. You might be able to Lyft or Uber or rent out your place through Airbnb during breaks, but holding a steady job would be very, very difficult. So right now, where I'm at, I chose to write a capstone option instead of a thesis, and I'm going to focus on how to apply design thinking strategies to the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council here in McLean County. In my internship, I analyzed data for them working with Dr. Beck, and I have an opportunity to provide them with something that might help them assess how they're doing, if they're reaching their mission and their vision in the work that they are doing in McLean County. So in conclusion, if you are considering graduate school, just know that nothing is impossible. It will be difficult, but not impossible. And this experience is very much what you make it. You have to put yourself out there. You should know what your academic skills are and where you would like to grow. You don't have to know everything, because you will certainly build to the knowledge you already have once you're here. And you bring a lot of knowledge, actually. But it's helpful just to have a basis to go off of. Just really get in touch with what your goals are and how you think this degree will help you make those connections that you need or help you to build your confidence for you to get to the next step. A special word to any people of the diaspora listening: I am rooting for you. There is nothing you can't do. Also, do this for you. Do what makes sense for you. Don't take on a lot of debt if that does not fit your life plan. You will be amazed at all you can do and accomplish once you graduate, or even once you finish your first semester. I would just tell you to stay true to yourself, take care of yourself, and just really enjoy this experience.